Hello. I have some sacred sage here, and it is a Sunday Tarot in the Garden reading. It's mid-January. It is 30 degrees Fahrenheit, around -2 degrees Celsius. And it's a chilly day, but a beautiful winter day. I'm going to clear the cards of any prior energy. And I have a spiritual oracle deck. And I have different stones with me today. Quartz, rose quartz, lapis lazuli, amethyst, angel aura quartz, and titanium quartz. And I will give myself a spiritual cleanse as well as ask my angels and relations for protection. And I will let the sage sit in this special singing bowl while we do our tarot in the garden today. I originally wanted to have a archetype video that I recorded and have it finished for this week. But as nature would have it, this is a time of hibernation, and I've accepted that that's where we're at. I had set up to record last week, and the wind chill factor was -3 where I was going to be recording. It was going to be for the lovers, and I have all the stuff ready. But I'm waiting until a warmer day because I'll be outside for hours. I love doing these outside. In fact, I plan on doing every archetype card outside. And this week, I will say, has been a real challenge. My special needs cat, who fought FIP and won, but she has residual neurological effects, and it particularly affects her bladder and her elimination system. So it makes her prone to UTIs, and we had a flare-up just recently, and it led to a whole cascade of other things, because you may have experienced this sometimes when you treat one thing, it leads to other things that you have to treat. You treat the primary thing, but then it creates another issue, and it creates another issue. And so we were dealing with that. And my girl is a fighter, my Emma cat. And that has been a challenge. I'm also helping to caregive for elderly parents and getting them caregivers. They live a long way away. Has also been a challenge. Not the caregiver piece, but my mom accepting the caregivers. So it's been an interesting week. I'm also holding in my heart the events in Minnesota right now. That also weighs heavily on me. And sometimes as I do these archetype videos, where I write the script and I create the artwork and think about the scene that I'm going to record, and I create the props, I begin to embody that archetype while I am working on it. And what's interesting is, because I'm working on the lovers, that is just front and center in my life right now. Just as a long distance caregiver, as a caregiver for my fur baby, and choosing love. And it applies too with what's going on in Minnesota. And so I'm going to use the Lover's card as what's called a significator. So this is the influence of our reading. And I'm going to bring in some personal reflections into this today because just intuitively it feels relevant. But also, I just want to interpret that archetype around what the cards will say and interpret the cards for what the collective needs to hear, but also what I need to hear, because tarot is as much for everyone else as it is for me, as it is for you. So we've cleared the cards, and we have the Lover as our significator. And we've got our crystals in place to invite that white light energy, that love, that intuition, and that balance. And so I'm going to begin clearing the cards. Excuse me, I said that wrong. I'm going to begin shuffling the cards. I'm so used to saying that as a first thing. And the question is, what do we all need to hear right now? Okay. I'm going to get our 3 decks. The center one seems to be calling. And now I will spread these out. And what is the first card that we need? And a second card. And a third card. Well, we got a Page of Wands. That's our first card that we drew. A Queen of Cups. And a Queen of Pentacles. Now, in past Tarot in the Garden readings, I've had you choose a card. But this one, because the Lovers is our significator, I'm going to read this as just an entire collective reading. So I'm going to sit for just a second and just let the meanings come, let the interpretation come. Next week, when I do the Lovers archetype video, I may or may not release it next Sunday, or it might be the Sunday after, depending on how the editing process goes. So I won't go into all the meanings, but for this particular reading, let me talk about the Lovers first. This card is almost like a duality. We've got our twins, also known as Adam and Eve, depending on if you're looking at the historical context and when this card was originally created in the Garden of Good and Evil. And we have the Tree of Life and the Tree of Knowledge. And the angel Gabriel is looking down This card is about finding and honoring that deeper love. In my own life, it's relevant because I choose. It's also a card about choosing. I choose to love. I choose to help my parents. I choose to help my cat. I choose to embrace love in the face of whatever it is that we're challenged with in the social justice arena as well. I think about the people who are standing up for those who don't have a voice, for those who want a better world for all. I'm just so thinking about Minnesota. I can't stop thinking about that too. And how the protesters are choosing love and nonviolence. And indeed, Martin Luther King talked about that. And there's a whole layer of meaning that goes with that. Because nonviolence is a courageous act. And it has so many layers. And this is a card about choosing deep love, radical love. And it almost makes me tear up because that is so relevant as I take care of my cat and that difficult experience this week and my parents from a distance. Now we have the Page of Wands, and this card speaks of action, but new action, going on adventures. And that's relevant here because whether you are traveling or not, life is an adventure, and embracing it and learning and moving forward and keep on putting one foot in front of the other, even if you don't necessarily know where you're going, will get you to a destination eventually. And because the page is a novice, it's a new kind of thing. It's an early adventure. And what's happening both in my life as well as in Minnesota reflects a new kind of adventure, just a turning point, a pivot. But it's a card that reminds us to keep putting one foot in front of the other. No matter what's happening, have hope. We will see another day. And that brings us to the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups embraces that creative, intuitive energy, but it's also a leadership energy. It's the kind of thing that demands creativity and listening to our inner voices as we move forward and standing by it, coming up with creative solutions to problems. With my cat this week, boy, we started out with the UTI and then it developed into hemorrhagic cystitis. Many nights of little sleep. Then it's developed into the secondary issues of constipation and just residual effects from an inflamed bladder. And the delicate balance of not upsetting her system and being super creative and pulling every tool I have, including energy healing, including using our vet, including regular medications, but also holistic methods. I love thinking about all the ways, no matter how outlandish, if it seems like it's going to work, I'm going to try it. I'm so close to this cat. She's my soul cat. And then I think about the greater things that are happening in Minnesota and how these require creative solutions, how it requires a measure of love, because the cups are a symbol of love as well, that emotion, that water, and it echoes what the lovers say. So as the lovers say that we need to choose deep love, it requires moving forward even when we're not sure what's going to happen. The lovers require the Queen of Cups requires creative solutions, thinking outside of the box, listening to intuition, and getting away for a moment to let those ideas seep in. You've heard of the shower thoughts, right? Thoughts come to you in the shower because your subconscious is still working on things, even when you stop actively thinking about it. That's what the Queen suggests here. That practice some self-care, but as you get away, let your mind work on it. Let your subconscious work on solutions. Which then brings us to the Queen of Pentacles. This one is about staying grounded. She is completely practical, completely down to earth, and also has that leadership energy. And the fact that we have two queens as well, just coming together in feminine solidarity, in a beautiful union of friendship and love. But the Queen of Pentacles suggests that we can experience abundance if the other two cards are true, if we keep moving forward and taking action and accepting that we're on an adventure, whether we're traveling or not. And then using our creativity, sending out love, listening to our inner voice so that we can arrive in a more stable, grounded state, in a state of relative abundance. Abundance of love, of peace, of stability. And I interpret this in my own life as, yes, we're going to get there. I also interpret it as the collective arriving there. This is alignment over fear. This is hunkering down to honor ourselves, what's sacred, and the journey. And it's emotional for me because probably I'm mostly sleep deprived. There's just a lot going on in the world, you know? When I was going through all of that this week, the normal stable methods that I use every day to develop my spiritual self, to maintain calm and stability, to work out the stresses of daily life, that includes meditation, it includes long walks, it includes working with my animals, playing music. But those things become luxuries when you are full on treating an animal or dealing with family or addressing immediate needs. But when things did calm down for a moment, when I had a second to sit, another outlet that I have in place is to create art, especially mandalas. This has been a go-to for me for many years. It's because I feel like they have a center. And the act of making those details and the repetitive patterns. So yes, this was a mandala to ground, to call in my angels and relations to protect me, my family, my cats, the world, send out love, and to meditate. Now, before I close out this reading, I wanted to bring out my spirit oracle and see if there's anything to add to this. So as I shuffle, what else do we need to know or need to hear? And since life really for me anyway, it is an evolution of a spiritual journey. I figure the collective is also on a journey, whether they know it or not. That same kind of spiritual journey where we're all looking to become our highest selves. Or if we're not necessarily always aware of it, I guess, but we are all progressing every day. And I'm going to choose a deck here. And spread these out. And so an extra spiritual takeaway is the transcending patch. Embrace your journey in its entirety, finding beauty both in light and dark moments. And doesn't that go perfectly with this? Isn't that the message we needed to hear? Was I not just talking about a journey? We're all on an evolving journey. And it's not so easy sometimes. It's glorious when you have those highs, but the lows, they're what make us learn the most. My cat has been one of my greatest spiritual teachers. And I choose deeper love with her. She's taught me so much. And I choose deeper love with my parents. And here we are on a journey collectively as a country. We're going through something, for sure. Last night I was thinking about 2012 and the Mayan calendar and how things really did seem to shift that December 21st, 2012, didn't they? Life really started changing after that. We've had so much happen with humanity. But if we can take every part of our journey and weave it in, allow it to become part of who we are, the light, the dark, then we become more evolved and well-rounded ourselves. With that, I'm going to close out this reading. It has been amazing being here with you. It's actually been cathartic as well. Next week looks a lot more promising for recording for all the reasons. The Lovers really has a lot to teach, and it is a really important card, or at least it feels very important for this time in my life, in this country's life, perhaps in your life. And I can't wait to share the video with you. It's the location I've chosen has a backdrop of the mountains, and even as I honor that winter hibernation, that just coming within and building fires at night in our fireplace or outside in the fire pit, even when it's cold, it just provides that sense of light and that sense of hope, because spring is coming. And I have to show a quick clip of the wings. I'm spray painting them. I have them ready to go. And I'm going to do some fun camera techniques to replicate me as twins in the archetype. It'll be fun. I can't wait for you to see it as well. In the meantime, I hope that you find peace, choose love, and that you keep moving forward. that you allow yourself some space so that your intuitive energy and your creative energy comes into play. You can think outside the box, and at the same time you're grounded, stable, and experience a level of abundance, whatever that looks like. Stability, work, grounding, foundation, all of that. Thank you.